Si la vista no me falla, no hubo trade hoy en Tokio. Vale, mando la idea bajista. Idea mandada. Vamos a ver si se activa ahora. Ahí estamos. Idea válida. Hay un buen spike. Idea bajista activa. Nos ha dado un rechazo en dirección contraria interesante. Vamos a ver cómo acaba esto. Yo, what is good, family? Hope you all are having an amazing day. Let's kick it off with today's setup we had this morning with the private group of students in the Spanish session. And basically we had this beautiful short. Let's kick it off because we have one of those days when the market was creating an internal range after the open of the session. So yeah, let's kick it off. First of all, we have to go over the open of the session. First of all, as always, we mark up the last high and the last low. The last high is a lower high, therefore that's pretty much a bullish break-off structure. The last low is a lower low. And you can think that perhaps we are very overextended and there is no valid rule of the third impulse to the downside. But we have to see the whole structure. We have high, higher low, higher high, break of structure, lower high, lower low, right? We have this whole structure, but if you see this little detail, higher high, higher low, higher high, the bearish BOS in reality is right here. But this is one scenario that we already explained a lot of times. Market does more than 3 impulses, then price goes, grabs all the liquidity, and then keeps going lower. Now we have first impulse, second impulse, right? So when the market grabs all the liquidity and keeps going lower, we have the possibility of still having a big rule of the third impulse, right? So in this case, we have the first impulse, first pullback, second impulse, second pullback marked up by this bullish candle, right? This bullish candle is giving us the end of the bearish impulse and the beginning of the pullback. So we have both ideas valid. Obviously, the bearish rule of the third impulse has the invalidation right here above the highest high of the structure, and the bullish BOS will have the invalidation at the low. So that's our buy stop and the sell stop. Fantastic. Now we just see how the market moves, because this very next candle is the open of the Frankfurt session, sorry, of the London session. Now this candle does nothing, all right? We have nothing literally here, and the very next candle creates a very important pattern. We have to check. This high is 41.56 and this is 41.82. Therefore, this high is lower than this high. Therefore, this high is higher than this high. We have low. This is how the structure is. Low, high, higher low, higher high, bearish BOS. Now, why I didn't take this BOS? Very simple. You guys know that when the market creates on the same candle the high and the BOS, the trade is not valid. And today we had the perfect example of why we don't take that setup. It's because there is a lot of volatility in that candle, and usually it's not going to give us the true movement that we are looking for. We look at the next candle, boom, market just skyrockets and mitigates the high. And this is normal because a lot of things are happening in just one candle. We want cleaner structures, structures that are not going slower, but at the same time are just giving you the points of the structure candle by candle, not everything on one candle, right? So now at this point we have the structure now like this: low, high, higher low, higher high. Now we can start having something. Next candle, boom, bearish candle. So this is extremely great because this bearish candle on a bullish range is giving us the end of the bullish impulse and the beginning of the pullback. Now this means two things, right? This means two things. The bearish level for the breakout, it's not this lower low anymore, but this higher low, because if the next candle goes to the downside, we can take the short because the high is created on this candle. The bearish BOS will be on the next candle, right? So it's perfectly valid. Now this high is a higher high, which is a second higher high, valid for a rule of the third impulse, 1 and 2. The second pullback is the same bearish candle. Because it's on a bullish range, the bearish candle marks out the pullback. Simple. We have a new range. We're coming from, like, how many pips of invalidation this year? This is like 1700. Yeah, 1900 pips. We're coming from there to now having 360 pips, right? So it's very important to understand the relevance of getting the correct ranges, because yeah, we came from a big range, now we have a smaller range, but it's perfectly fine because we want to have the first setup of the session. Now the next candle does nothing, next candle does nothing, next candle activates the setup. At this time we cancel the bullish pending order, the buy stop, and just let the short run. As you saw, this candle is like 8 pips away from the exit. That will happen sometimes. In live market on the session, we were like right here, and I was like, all right, if the market hits the invalidation right after being 10 pips away from my exit, look, it is what it is. All right, you just let the probabilities play. This is like, this will be one scenario out of 1,000, so it's not something that you should try to refine or anything. But yeah, it's pretty important, guys. It's pretty important that you understand the probabilities of the setups. And yeah, in this case, we just let it run and price eventually hit the last exit. So guys, with this being said, you have the playlist of the whole M5R method on the description of the video, so you can see all the videos, you can see all the little details that are on the strategy and everything. And also you have the link to my Instagram. You can ask in my DMs about the private group of students and see if we have spots for you on the sessions and on the group. And you will have access obviously to the intensive course of the strategy, to the live sessions every single day on the London Open, and also to the app, and have access to all the market ideas on crypto, forex, and the rest of the markets. With this being said, family, see you on the next videos. Let's get it.